would say one of the most fun parts of any of the Borderlands games is swapping your old shitty piece of garbage gun for a new one and just feeling it shred through enemies like they're nothing. So naturally, as someone who hates fun and only enjoys suffering, I thought it was once again time to beat one of these games using only the starting weapon. But first, I needed some rules. The first rule is obvious: the only weapon I can use is the starting weapon given to me when I first start the game. The second rule is melee is allowed because ammo runs out real fast when it takes hundreds of bullets to kill one enemy, but I can't be taking the piss and make a melee build and just go out smacking everything to avoid using the gun. The third rule is I can't use grenades. And lastly, I can use my action skill because if I couldn't, I'd probably just end up throwing myself out the window. So in the other Borderlands games, everyone gets the same pistol at the start, but this time it's a little bit different and every character has a different starting weapon. I started out this challenge as Mordecai using the sniper, but got possessed by the stupid, and about halfway through I accidentally used a different sniper for about 2 hours until I realised it wasn't the starting sniper. What one is the one I'm using? I'm guessing I'm using the rusty one. No, I'm thinking... What one is mine? Wait, do they have levels on them? Oh yeah, the rusty sniper. Wait, have I been using the wrong sniper the whole time? Oh my god. Are you serious? Oh, how long? How long have I been doing that? Bruh. I didn't want to restart as Mordecai because I didn't want to do it all the exact same again, and the sniper didn't really drop off that drastically, so I thought I should try something else. I picked Lilith with her starting SMG and fucking hell, it was horrendous. It bounced around like big boobs when you try to walk down the stairs without a bra on, and it dealt a whopping 5 damage. And lucky for me, it wasn't going to be dealing much more than that because the skills in this game weren't that helpful. There were a few that helped me out, but the skill points in the other games helped out so much more than they did here. I cleared out New Haven and the voices in my head told me that it was good that I killed all those people and that I should go and kill more. I met this totally qualified doctor called Zed to check if it was normal for a voice in my head to tell me to kill people, and he told me yes, and that I should go out and kill all kinds of stuff. So I went out and continued my murderous rampage, this time killing these little baby skags. Usually animal killing makes me really sad, but don't be fooled by how easy these things are going down, because once they get a little higher level, they become the most difficult thing to kill in this whole game. I'm not even trolling. In this game, the skags can actually get so far to fuck. I brought electricity to New Haven, then, after consulting the voice in my head, went out to kill some more actual people. I met TK Baha, who pulled the most hilarious prank of 2021 by pointing a gun and threatening to shoot me. I decided just shooting the skags wasn't enough and stole their food as well just in case any of them didn't get mowed down. While killing some more people, I already started dropping dead and could feel this gun starting to fall off a little bit. It was time for my first boss fight, which was with Nine Toes, who I think was the first starting boss to kill me. After being humiliated, I went back in there and gave Nine Toes a vigorous spanking for embarrassing me like that in my own video. This is where my hatred of the skags began. These two were so much more difficult to kill than Ninetales was. I did a lot of side quests in this game because the skill points didn't help me a ton. I tried to stay over leveled because that would give me a little bit of a damage boost. And also, for some reason, this game brought out extreme rage in me. I have no idea why, but I was fucking flying off the handles over how rubbish this gun was, so being a higher level helped me keep my sanity. Bonehead annihilated me pretty much the second he laid eyes on me, and this happening so early in the game was making me worry about how possible this was gonna be. I don't know if I was just being dramatic or if the game realised there's clearly something wrong with me since I'm still using this gun, but my second attempt at killing this guy, he actually wasn't that difficult to kill at all. I met Shep Sanders, then did a ton of side quests so I could get big and strong and not have to fantasize about running into traffic every time I fought a boss. I did all the side quests possible and was still under-leveled, so I knew my booty hole would be in for a tough time doing the next story mission. My main issue at this point was ammo. Some of the enemies were really tanky, but they didn't really do that much damage, and I never really felt like there was so many that I was overwhelmed. But some of the enemies took like 200 or 300 bullets to kill, so I was constantly going back for ammo. Then eventually enemies would respawn and I'd have to run through them all and hope for the best or fight them all again. It was time to fight this Roid Rage Psycho, and I genuinely forgot that this guy even happened until watching my recording of it. I must have blocked it out due to trauma because this guy had me fucked up. Unfortunately, I'm me, so as usual I died about half an hour into the fight when he had less than a quarter of his health left. By the end of this fight, I think I was more angry than he was. Every time he threw one of those little pocket nukes, all I could see him as was one of those 30-year-old virgins who abused one-man army noob tubes back in Modern Warfare 2. This fight took me about 45 minutes, and this is really early in the game. It was like my second boss fight, so this had me shitting my pants about what the bosses at the end of the game would be like. I got the mine gate key, and the voice in my head told me that my fight with Sledge would be my first real challenge. And I had considered that Psycho to be quite a challenge, so I decided, even though everyone had been telling me that this is pretty urgent business and the fate of Pandora depends on this being done ASAP and all that, the best course of action was to go and do some side quests for a few hours. While making my way to my first real challenge, which I was pretty excited for because after what I had already been through, I knew that this was probably gonna be horrendous. I engaged in some foreplay with some of Sledge's men. My favourite part of this being when I fought this badass bruiser for like 20 minutes and got him really low health, and then he just started regenerating it all and killed me, making all my time fighting him pointless. Anyway, the voices in my head led me to Sledge, and you can bet your ass I didn't even stop for a second to question why they were telling me to kill this very clearly mentally disabled man. The fight started with me dealing pretty much no damage and then dying shortly after, but that's fine. Since I started doing the starting weapon challenge in the Borderlands games, I've grown to enjoy the suffering, so I wasn't even fazed by this. But for real, this fight wasn't actually that hard. It took a long time because of how little damage I'd deal, but I'd just run him in a circle, shoot him in the face, and maybe use my ability on him, then run away before he got too close, and just repeated that over and over until he was dead. I got my first part of the vault key. It was time to save Lucky. I don't remember what he really does. All I remember is that he clapped Moxie's cheeks, and rescuing him was an absolute pain in the butthole. This gun was really starting to fall off at this point. Even the normal bandit enemies who are supposed to drop really fast while starting to sponge a bit. I rescued Lucky, then he sat on the toilet doing absolutely nothing to help me while we were being attacked by a badass bruiser. It was now time for my absolute favourite kind of mission that every Borderlands game seems to have. Destroying a bunch of cars. This sucked, but it wasn't like torture kinda bad, it was more like, this is unpleasant and I'd rather not be doing this kinda bad. It took about half an hour, but a lot of that was just me being a cheating bastard and trying to get the cars to get themselves stuck so I could just sit still and shoot them without really being in danger. Little did I know, that was just foreplay, because next I had to take on a car boss called Mad Mel. But as an expert in starting weapon combat, I found that I could just sit outside the arena peeking over every now and again to take a few shots as Mel drove past. I'd run out of ammo all the time, but I'd just drive down the road to the ammo vending machine and buy some more and his health wouldn't even reset. But of course I pulled the classic, get the boss down to about a quarter health, then die and have to restart. It took a little over an hour, but I finally took down Mad Mel. This guy was by far my least favourite boss in the game. I arrived in New Haven and gave them the gift of power by just walking about the town and flipping it on, which no one else could do for some reason. I went to do some side quests and slowly started to lose my shit as this gun was a complete garbage waste of space that should be burned at the stake. It is just downhill from here, and I don't finish this game until like level 31, so that's 10 more levels of this game getting worse and worse. I fought King Wee Wee, which was a struggle I can only imagine compares to when our parents had to walk 10,000 miles to school every day in 50 inches of snow at temperatures below like 100 million degrees Celsius. I met Tanis, got roughed up by some big burly men, then met up with Crazy Earl. He asked me to kill a bunch of guys, which I was gonna do anyway, but he's paying me for it, so fuck yeah. I'm not saying it was hard, because I am the world's only Borderlands starting weapon esports pro, but I went through some shit here. I got humiliated by One-Eyed Jack multiple times, even though I was using both eyes and playing like a little rat. I of course overpowered him, didn't even lose a single bit of health, I just walked in there, whooped his ass and took his eye as a trophy. Crazy Arrow asked me to thieve some booze from the bandits, which actually went pretty good because I got myself nice and over-leveled. After getting Arrow the essentials, I went to get him the corpses of my mortal enemy to eat. This is where things really went to shit. Like really, really went to shit. Like freak out and rage off of stream kind of shit. I finished the mission because I wasn't about to let Arrow go hungry, but I was beyond pissed. I was back in the area to kill Reva, which was a pain right up the butthole because of how much this game was starving me of ammo. I ran out of ammo and had enough of Reva thinking he was some hot shit, so I beat him to death. I went to the middle of nowhere to contemplate my life choices and where it all went wrong to make me so shit at literally everything, and I also got some more side quests there. I breezed my way up to the next boss thanks to all those side quests. Also, at this point, I wasn't wearing my glasses anymore because I was waiting for my new ones, so if I look extra garbage, that's why. This boss was by far the easiest in the game because he didn't move and I'm the fucking cheese master, so I just stood in a spot where he couldn't really get me and killed him in the most cheesy loser who sucks way possible. I grabbed the next part of the vault key. Then I met this guy called Taylor and he asked me to kill his brother, and at this point I've killed so many people I'm pretty much numb to all human emotion, so I had no problem with that request. It turns out his brother had a lot of friends who weren't too happy about me coming to kill him. Them killing me is actually really fucked up because I was visually impaired, and all of us know before this point I was like the fucking Terminator going around wiping everyone out like it was nothing, not even getting a scratch on me. So yeah, this was pretty rude of them, to be honest. I killed Taylor's brother, but then it turns out Taylor is actually a bad guy, so I had to put him down as well. I had to take down this big thing that had a vagina for a mouth, and in terms of damage, I dealt no damage. But I was not a no damage virgin. I was very experienced and had dealt with this in all of the Borderlands games doing this challenge, so I was confident I could overcome it again. The rats did murder me a few times, but I just kinda stood about and let them batter me and hoped I'd get lucky and not die from it. I beat this boss pretty easily. I'd say it was one of the easier ones to beat because its only attack was those racks. I somehow had a harder time with that cycle at the start of the game in King Wee Wee than with this thing. And I also got another vault key piece. I went to Old Haven to save Claptrap, and there were some really tanky enemies here, but I didn't have too hard of a time with them. I just stayed in cover and used my ability to put elemental damage on them, then took them out with the SMG. I set Claptrap free and he just kinda did nothing to help while I fought our way out. There was another car bit, but this time I only had to destroy 4 cars instead of 8, so it wasn't too bad. Then I had to fight Baron Flint, who I had an extremely intense fight with that can only be compared to the fight with Thanos at the end of Endgame. After I killed him, I got a call from Commander Steel, who told me that she was giving me my final warning, even though she had called me like 2 or 3 other times earlier to give me my final warning. I had to go and save Tannis, which involved a lot of killing these tanky guys. After I found her, I had to go and turn the internet back on. I turned on all of the transmitter consoles. Then it was time to end this shit, and I didn't really feel the need for any more XP, so I just ran past all the enemies on my way to the vault. I met Commander Steel for the first time, and I'm guessing she's like the main bad guy of the game, but I don't really know because no one really spoke about her, and she never really did anything apart from phone me a few times to tell me to piss off. She opened the vault and got instantly murdered, so yeah, she stopped being an issue pretty quickly. This was it. The final fight of the game, and I was born ready for this shit. When this fight started, I just started blasting at the eye and the little blobs on the tentacles, but I started to think that this wasn't right because it didn't look like I was dealing any damage. It was either I wasn't hitting the right spots to deal damage, or I dealt so little damage that the health bar wasn't even affected. I was guessing it was the second one and just kept blasting, and eventually I seen a tiny chip in its health, and that's when I realised I was gonna be there for a while. I died several times in this fight, but thankfully this boss's health doesn't reset on death, otherwise I would have been here for years. Eventually, after a little over an hour of mindless shooting and smacking tentacles while being battered by annoying blue blobs, I killed the destroyer, proving once again that I am the greatest gamer of all time that has and will ever exist, and if anyone wants to challenge me for that title, just let me know what game to meet you on and I'll clap your cheeks. If you made it to the end of the video, I commend your tolerance for cringe. And also, you should like and subscribe because I'm a huge disappointment and would like to not be that anymore. Please. If you didn't like the video, just let me know your mum's number so I can give her a call and let her know you deserve a sperm spanking for not being nice to me online. I'm pretty sure all I have left to do is beat the pre-sequel with the starting pistol, and then I'll have done them all. Then, after that, I plan on beating all of the raid bosses in all of the Borderlands games with only the starting pistol. I stream all these challenges on Twitch, so you should come hang out with me when I do that. I'll link it in the description. Bye!